Hello, 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 and welcome to my manga chapter read along for One Piece 1166. I am reading it as usual on the Shonen Jump app. You can download the chapters for 7 days. The three most recent chapters are free, but everything else you get if you pay like I don't know. It's really cheap, $4 or $5. I'm not sponsored. I'm just saying I love this app because it's very convenient. Okay, in the live chat we have Tiago, EAF official, Dave is here, Modru, Hunter, Camille, Cherry, Loliet, Funk Hazard, CET into R said konnichiwa, and Hachi Jack, SZQ, RNSK, welcome, welcome, Booty. I hope I gave everyone a shout out. Dark Shadow is here, and I'm going to, for the first time, so I haven't looked at the cover. I haven't seen any spoilers in the last week or two, actually, because there was no chapter last week. So, if I remember correctly, the last chapter was when Roger and Garp had to put Chebek to rest. So it was kind of like, it felt like the week off came at the right time. You know how you have a moment of silence when someone passes? So it kind of felt very fitting. So I'm really curious to see today if this chapter picks up, like, I mean, the flashback is over now, right? But let's find out. Ooh, so we're starting with a color page at the front. Based on a request, Yamato and Otama collecting fallen leaves and baking sweet potatoes with tanukis and foxes. Oh, that is so cute. So they're holding little like hot sweet potatoes. Look how cute Zoro looks. Oh, and Sanji. And Luffy. Oh, this is such a wholesome picture. I love it. I love the leaves and all the full colors. Very, very, very nice. Zoro looks like a lumberjack. It's the hat and the shirt. He looks like a lumberjack. Nami is very stylish. So we don't have all the characters here. I see. They're cooking it in like tinfoil, wrapped in tinfoil, and that must be delicious. Yum, yum, yum. And the Otama-chan looks so cute in her little green jersey. Very cute. Yamato is wearing a jersey that says 15. Oden ni soro. Very cool. Okay, so let's get started. Chapter 1166. Ooh, the backstory continues because so we're starting with Chebek coughing. Has the curse worn off? Will I leave this island alive? No! They didn't kill him. And then oh no! That little, oh no! I guess not. Roger, Garp, you better run. There's no reason to stick around and die with me. Oh, right. I forgot to say one thing. I'm glad you stopped me. And then they stab him through the heart, or through the chest, or they stab him to death. So I think this is really, like, Oda doesn't want them to be the ones to have killed him. Even if it was because of the curse, and he asked them, they were not the ones that finished him off. Yeah, that coward, Garling. I did not. Okay, where's Rox? And they're running to find them. It's Rayleigh and Gaban. You're worried about your enemy? You guys are my enemies too. What happened to Rox, Rayleigh? They killed him. So Rayleigh saw it happen. Hurry! The island is collapsing. Don't let the pirates escape. Roger's ship is on the move. Open fire. Well, shit. Absent from the pages of recorded history, like a curtain falling on a stage, the island crumbled in upon itself and was shrouded in a deep mist. So we have Garp, Roger, that looks so much like Ace here, Whitebeard and Big Mom on the side. This is a broad account of what happened in the mysterious, obscure God Valley incident. Let's make our escape! Full speed ahead! Yeah, ha, ha, ha. On this side, we have Kaido, and who's this? Oh, Dragon. Shanks, Ivankov, and Kuma, and Jenny, and then Teach, baby Teach. After a brief moment of silence, a massive lightning bolt with countless branches split the sky, and with that, a number of new stories began. So, sorry, I'm kind of looking away from the live chats until I finish the chapter, and then I'll hear what everyone says, but you can still send your messages if you feel like it. Okay, so a number of new stories began. We still have to wait? Yes, not until Roger wakes up. Hurry up, Captain Roger. I want to open those chests. Shanks was sleeping in there this whole time. So then when Roger wakes up, he says, sorry to worry you all like that. Good, you're better now. Anyway, check this out. Were you really worried for me or you weren't? We got Chucky out, safe and sound. And she's like holding Rayleigh. And we made off with all this treasure. Wow, what a haul. And then we hear a little baby. Sorry, I can't do baby crying, but that came from the chest. There's something in there. Careful when you open it. Click. A baby? Dong. A little red-haired baby called Shanks. The downfall of the Rocks pirates. The story, of course, was heavily sanitized and prominently featured the exploits of Garp, the hero. The Rocks pirates are done for? Rocks is dead! Rah! I just knew Vice Admiral Garp was the real strongest man around. Garp! Garp! Now there's a true hero. Navy HQ, Grand Line. What is this drivel? Vice Admiral Garp, stop! Bring me this Morgan's guy. He needs to answer for this. And there's Garp, tearing up the newspaper. Stop it, Garp. The government clearly paid him to write this. Yup. Bought and paid for media. Only in fiction, right, guys? The world government and the Navy are both massive organizations. If you include the militaries of all the member countries, There are tens of millions of soldiers across the world. It's impossible to be completely aware of what every last one of them is doing. So when I notice that the upper management is doing something insane, I can just look the other way. That's what I hate about you, Sengoku, you ladder climbing fool! Shut up! What is barking from the bottom of the cliff going to accomplish? I just spat. Excuse me. Stop it, you two. If you turn out like them, I'm gonna kill you myself. Well, with friends like you, how can I possibly go wrong? Don't tell me you're quitting, Garp. You some kind of idiot? I've got plenty to protect down at the bottom of the cliff, as you call it. Elbaf, New World. And now it looks like it's fading out of the backstory of the... If only we all had a Garp in high places. The world needs more Garps, more dragons. It needs, obviously, all the different types. But more Kumas. But Kuma is a gem. There's not a lot of people like Kuma. Kuma's a saint. You can't expect too many Kumas, honestly. But you need Luffy's, you need Buggies, you need all kinds. That keeps things fun. Okay. Elbaf, New World. So then we have someone... Oh, the Bible! You're back again? I'm not taking you with me. How many times do I have to say it, Squirt? You really think I take kids onto my crew? Oh, kids. But he's like 4 times his own size. What a mess. Ignored by the guy whose attention I want, and followed around by some annoying snot-nosed brat. Poor Loki. But I mean, I get it. I think you're Nika, Rox. Nika? The warrior of liberation. He laughs as he tears down the world. He tears it down? Well, I'm gonna be king of the world. If anyone's got that kind of power, it's Harold. Huh? Listen to this, Loki. Oh, it didn't fade out of the backstory. It went a bit further back for a moment. Listen to this, Loki. Slumbering somewhere out there in the world is a bunch of incredible destroyers by the name of Galela. Galela? Like the same name as the ship people in Water 7? Galela. And the guy who can actually control them is your old... Oh, right, the giants in the ice. Yes. And the guy who can actually control them is your old man. I could have all the outlaws in the world under my command. If me and Harold team up, who could possibly stop us? Stop us. Wow, that is so cool. So why doesn't my dad team up with you? Because of love? But I'll keep coming back. 100 times. 200 times. As many as it takes. What's that little book? A little newspaper? Oh, he learned about Rox's death in the little newspaper. I think. There's been an assault. It was King Harold of Elbaf. Has he hurt any civilians? On a certain island? It's a giant ruffian that he's beating. But it's so brutal. You still don't get it, do you? Yeah, yes, I do. I'm sorry. I'll never pillage the humans again. You don't get it. None of you do. All of you scum with size as your only quality are the ones who built the giant's history of terror. And because of you, no one believes us. They don't believe that we seek a peaceful seat among the nations of the world. That's really sad because his anger is like understandable, but he's perpetuating the stereotype right now because of his anger about the stereotype. That's sad. But also he's angry about, like, I think he's very emotional, like someone that he did respect died. So, Your Majesty, he's unconscious. I wanted Elbaf to join the world government to avoid losing their faith, and that was why I couldn't help him. Whoever side fortune is on, it doesn't feel like mine. My greatest friend begged me for help, and I turned my back on him. I left him there to die. Now I can't turn back from this path. I refuse to overlook the evil of the giants. The king of the giants becomes deranged. That's very sad. Nihon kara ohayo gozaimasu. Minami Afrika kara konbanwa. Harold unleashing all his frustration on this giant. That guy was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I hope he survived. Okay, Navy HQ, underground cells. I'm quitting the Navy, Dad. I know. And on that topic, I'm disgusted with you. I know. He gave him the key. That conversation. I know. He gets it. Harold, I've made up my mind, Ida. Chief Jarul, it's time for me to set aside these half measures. Hairujin, Loki, you are my sons, and I love you both. I want you to work together to support Elbaf after I'm gone. That was the first conversation between Garp and Dragon. There is so much weight in those worlds. In those words. I'm quitting the Navy, Dad. I know. And on that topic, I'm disgusted with you. I know. But then he gives him the key. It's an Elbaf Royal Navy ship. What? I'm very sorry, King Harold, but I've been instructed not to allow you to land. Officers of the Navy and dignitaries of the world government, please hear me. And that's when he breaks off his horns. It's like ripping off your ears with your hands. Hachi says, okay, wait. So, yeah, imagine ripping off your own ears with your hands, but like, probably, I don't know, is it worse? Can we even imagine? Allow me this chance to atone for 1,000 years of history. I want to apologize for all the mistakes that giant kind has made. I wish to prove my oath of peace so that the children of Elbaf can lead fruitful lives without hurting anyone, so that they can live hand in hand with humanity. I want the chance to atone for our sins. If that means I must be a slave, so be it. What a fucking horrible scene. imagine one person, any amount of people wanting to become a slave for sins they did not commit. Like, you had no control over the past. Okay, well, he was a part of the problem for a while. But still, he changed and he was fighting to make things right in a good way. He was trying, and now this? To be a slave? And then it ends with just Emu's eye. One. Hachi says the scene between Dragon and Garp had a completely different vibe from the fan translation, the leaked translation. Garp just said K, but it completely doesn't have that feeling. The words I know, and his expression that comes with it. I know. I love this translation, at least. Cherry says, I really like Harold, but this lost approach feels naive. It's the hopeless. It seems he has tried his hardest to right the wrongs of the past, but it's like nothing is working. And then he lost his friend, and he just kind of gave up. He just this was his last resort. Yeah, that's what Funk Hazard says. At this point, he has no choice but to try everything to join the world government. Otherwise, he left Rocks to die for nothing. So even if he has to become a slave, he needs it to happen. So it's very, very hopeless, yeah. And emotional, and like a last resort. Harold is so desperate. He's doubling down. Yep. And when has doubling down in a state of emotional turmoil ever been a good thing? What does this say? That is a really tough place to end it, right? I have to say. It's like last week, there wasn't much for me left to say. It was just sad. And this week is just the same. It's kind of nice to know that at least it wasn't Garp and Roger were not the ones who killed Harold. But that means, how did they end the curse? There must be a way to end the curse then. Right? Because they defeated him and then he woke up with his senses. But then he was killed. It's not like I needed more of a reason to hate Garling and the others, but I mean... Maybe Emu relinquished the curse. I don't know. Why would you let go of your hold over someone so strong? Maybe just to kill him off, But why I don't know. Cherry says, I can't wait to see Loki's reaction when he finds out that the Joy Boy he suspected Rox to be is actually Luffy. I wonder if he would accept Luffy like that. But Luffy is the inheritor of the devil fruit that holds Nika's power. But he's not the symbol, like, for Loki. I guess it's like saying to your dad, "You're my superhero. You're like Superman, Dad." It's like, I don't think Luffy is gonna be that for him. I think Rox was his symbol of liberation that he needed at that time as a kid. I wonder about how he would respond to finding out Luffy has the Nika fruit, you know? Maybe maybe enough hockey can break the curse. Ooh. Maybe. I wonder what they use to power up the ancient weapon to destroy God Valley. They don't have the Mother Flame that they used for Lelouchia. Why they don't have the Mother Flame? Oh, I mean back then. I wonder. Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting question. I agree. I also hope that Luffy can be a liberation to Loki in a different way. Loki is not meant to have eaten the legendary devil fruit that needs a giant. Which one is that? I feel like the giants and the humans have different Nikas. Well, like EA official says, Joy Boy is from the Advanced Kingdom. Nika is from Elbaf mythology. They may or may not be the same person, or maybe Joy Boy had the Nika fruit. You know, the same way. Maybe there was a Nika that his power, he became like a symbol, like Buddha or something, right? So maybe Nika's power became a fruit that was then eaten by Joy Boy. So he looked like Nika or had the power, maybe. I don't know, I'm just guessing here. Maybe that's why they get conflated. But Luffy is both. He's the D, but also the Nika. So maybe, but where does Joy Boy come in? Because Ivankov calls him Joy Boy, right? Maybe because of his, there's a lot to think about. Or to keep track of. It's difficult when you have 1,000 like memories from the show, but then they kind of difficult to just like remember everything. Where does it say about Loki eating a legendary devil fruit? Funk Hazard says, so Loki has apparently eaten a legendary devil fruit and also think he's the sun god, same as Nika. Where did he say he thinks he's the sun god? Okay, give me a minute. I want to roll down my desk because I need to sit for a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to try and process what I just read. But it like I said, it was kind of just like rounding things down. I thought it would end last week, but they really had to kill Rox twice in 2 chapters. Not literally, you know what I mean. But like he had to die last week in my mind, and then this week again. Good night, Cherry. See you next time. I don't know how much discussion there will be because I just feel like a little sad and hopeless, and I just want to get back to the crew. So I don't know how much more discussion there will be, but I hope you have a nice sleep. I read your message. I don't read all messages out loud. I try to, but I don't. Usually at the end of a chapter, there's always like, would you go look at that chapter? Would you go check that? And today it just feels like, maybe we should read some SBSs. But I don't remember where I ended off. And at some point, the SBSs became really serious, you know? It wasn't just like fun facts and jokes. So I don't know if I should read everything because it'll take a very long time. Like, obviously I should read everything eventually, but the legendary devil fruit must be some kind of giant serpent. What about the Ouroboros? Why must it be a kind of giant serpent? Oh yes, I'll check the Discord. But maybe it would be cool if it was Ouroboros. What is Ouroboros again? An ancient symbol depicting a snake or dragon eating its own tail. I just thought Ouroboros sounded cool. They are the universal sign of life's cycle, birth, death, rebirth. The very idea that one could devour themselves as a self-sacrificial attempt to be reborn as something grander, incorporating the memories of all that came before it, is inherently beautiful. I feel like the legendary devil fruit has to be something about flames, because rocks mention the Carrera. I feel like the fruit has to have the ability to melt the frozen legendary giants. Ooh, that's a good one. And that is why Rock said Harold has to eat it. That would be cool. Let me quickly roll as well. Ooh, Dragona Joestar. She looks cool. I just want to roll, and then I'm going to look in the manga chat, in the One Piece manga chat. There usually is some thoughts being shared there. I actually got a One Piece key yesterday. I got a key for Nekomamushi no Danna ni Ai ni Yoko o Nekomamushi no Danna ni. I miss him. I miss him and the what's Dogstorm. So cute. It's not lost hour yet, so I don't need to worry about claiming unless I already did. Then I really don't need to worry about claiming. Okay. So here we go, One Piece manga. Give me a second. This was from, where does it start? Where does it start? Over here. Tiago says, okay, just smack the demons hard enough with Conqueror's Haki and they're cured. I can live with that. The God Knights taking cheap kill shots only after the fight is done. At least Rayleigh and Gaban ran off with Roger and Garp. It speaks volumes of them to save Garp as well. More to the Marine side, can always use a good Garp to keep the admirals in check. The newbie Marines can look forward to his training while under his wing. And the sword. Oof, they really corner Harold mentally here. I'd imagine this probably becomes the reason Loki would kill his dad. along the lines of one day saw his dad lowering himself further as a slave to the world government and probably couldn't tolerate that any further. I don't know. I still don't believe that Loki killed his dad. I feel like Loki is going to have a really important role in the story. And Oda usually doesn't like letting good guys kill people. I haven't really... Is there an example? Because even now, when they had so much reason to do it, not even Garp and Roger were in the end the ones who killed Chebek. So I don't feel like Loki is going to be the one who killed his dad, but I don't know. Hachi says, we saw he didn't kill him. When? See, I don't remember stuff. Tiago says, oh right, I forgot that part. Me too. But I always knew he didn't kill him. In my heart. He got stabbed by his guards. When did we see that? Whoa! I had an idea that his legendary fruit was a giant serpent. Who? And when he was defeated, his corpse created the red line. Whose fruit? That sounds like such a cool theory, though. Okay. Dio di Warudo. Dio Di Warudo wrote, rest in peace, Rocks. You were a fan favorite in this flashback, and you were a lot nicer than I thought you would be, leading a crew of future villains. And Whitebeard. It's cool seeing that Oda still thinks about minor characters like the Doctor from Marineford here. The Dragon and Garp conversation was really interesting. Garp knows he's in the wrong, so he doesn't... I wouldn't say he's in the wrong. Like, he knows he's in the wrong. He just knows... He doesn't like what the higher-ups are doing either. So, okay. It reminds me of Dadan, Garp scene after Ace's death. Seeing how this conversation went, I think they're going to have another talk. Where it's a complete conversation. I think it's going to be when Luffy is born. Huh? Because Garp gets him somehow. Oh, Garp gets Luffy. Oh, I would love, more conversations between Garp and Dragon would be fantastic. Dragon has to trust his dad with his son somehow, so despite how little of their conflict we got, I don't think it's the end. I think Dragon grew up a bit and he realized that Garp was not the one. Garp is not the core problem. You know, being mad at your dad for choosing to be one of the good ones and protect who he can protect from where he is. I mean, think about it. If it wasn't for Garp, where would Helmeppo and Kobe be? Garp did a lot of good staying where he was. So I think as Dragon grew up, I would hope that he would realize that. You need people like Garp in the Marines, and you need people like Dragon doing things a different way. That's true. Siddard says, Harold offering himself to be a slave to atone for his sins kind of reminds me of the Eldians in Marley. Yeah. Kinda, yeah. The theme of people atoning for the sins of their fathers or forefathers or people they don't even know. That's something really tough for me to even talk about. But I do think there are at least one or two quotes about that in One Piece. right? Very, very clear, strong quotes. Especially, I mean, think about Robin's backstory. The people she was associated with didn't even do anything wrong, and she was still paying for their sins. But there's more. I just don't remember where. Like, more examples. Harold is really interesting to me at this point of the story. I don't like him, but I understand where he's coming from. He is a king first, a father, and a friend second. As we see from his handling, that's a very nice way to put it. A king first, a father, and a friend second. As we see from his handling of Loki and how he didn't help Rox at all. He did let Rox pass though, right? He didn't need to let him pass there because Rox wanted to go and save his family. And he did offer him a kind of support, the best that he could in that moment. When in Japan? 500 years ago in Edo period Japan? Anyway, if you're watching this back on the other channel, the thing I responded to was, in Japan, people believe when one person commits a crime, their family also bears the sin. People believe. You're speaking for all of Japan here? The current Japan, not Japan from like 1,000 years ago? If you can point me to a law that says if I'm a Japanese citizen and my dad commits a crime and then kills himself and then I have to like go to jail, if you can point me to that law, maybe I'll consider that idea, but that just sounds... I don't... He obviously feels guilty and is now a sunken cost fallacy. A sunken cost fallacy where... Since he was willing to betray... Oh, yeah. Is that what it's called? I don't... Bye, Hachi. North Korea on place is one place that has that as a law right now. Yeah, but we're not talking about random places that has shitty rules. We're talking about One Piece. So I understand why you would want to bring up Japan, but because it's like where One Piece is being written, but yeah. We're not just going to talk about random places right now. If we want to talk about countries in the world with batshit crazy laws, we'd be talking all night. He feels guilty and is now in a sunken cost fallacy where since he was willing to betray his best friend... Betray is an interesting word. Even if he feels he betrayed his best friend, I guess someone with that sense of responsibility would feel that way. But betray to me is you actively did something against them. Whereas Harold just said from the very beginning, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. And then technically he got involved by allowing by allowing him to pass. But he didn't really... But I get he would still feel that since he didn't help him, that was a betrayal. But I mean, he asked him 1,000 times and he just said no. Like, if my friend asked me to go with them on a roller coaster and I say no many times and then they go and they die, did I betray them? Okay, no, that's not the right thing to say. He's now willing to do anything to get his country recognition. I think Harold understands that the world government is corrupt, but sees it as the only way for Elbaf to integrate with other countries. We've said that too. There was an argument about Harold on Twitter, and I found a tweet I really like, and I want to include it. The worst part about this is that Oda thought he was cooking. Harold believes that he is innately evil for letting his best friend die. He also now believes that the giants as a whole are innately evil and that this is the only compensation for their crimes. Genuinely not sure where you got lost on this one. How are people like not getting that though? Because I mean, did they not watch Attack on Titan? Do they not see how many people in the world are still trying to atone for things they never did? Funk Hazard says, I think both are bad takes. I think this is worded maybe not in a great way because he doesn't think that giants are innately evil. Like, that's a bit of a big word to use, but I get what he's trying to say. Like, he feels, as I understand it, Harold feels the world sees giants as innately evil because of the history of slaughter. And he doesn't know anymore. He's at his wit's end to how to change that. This is the only way that he feels. He has to do it because if he gave up his friend for this cause, he has to make it happen now. Not because he thinks they're innately evil, but because he knows that people have that perception because of the 1,000-year history of slaughter. But yeah, I don't understand this take. Like, Oda thought he was cooking. What does that mean? When did he try to kill rocks? One Piece fanbase never beating the reading comprehension allegations. Some people seem to like jump to conclusions a little bit before really critically thinking, but yeah. You're saying what I mean is what makes sense to Japanese people may not make sense to Western people. What are you talking about? You're making big claims about what Japanese people believe with nothing to back you up. I think you should take a step back, think about what you want to say, and get some facts to back it up, because otherwise you're just rambling nonsense. Because what do you have to prove that Japanese people think if one person commits a crime, the family bears the sin? Like, can you give me an example, like a law or something that proves Japanese people think this? Like, just come back with some sense, please. I don't want to, this is a silly conversation. Many people in history thought that, and you can point to examples of it, where a whole family, like you can point to even in Wano, which was Japan from like really long ago. So if you want to talk about like 1,000 years ago, say 1,000 years ago, but have a purpose for that discussion as well. Like, why bring it up now? What does that have to do with? Booty says, they fought for a bit. It does not look like none of the two was really serious or someone would have died. I remember the world government telling him to kill him and then I do remember them fighting on the ship, but he let him go. He would never have really, so I don't think that's a betrayal either. Gaban and Rayleigh saving Garp reminded me a lot of Smoker in Arabasta. What did Smoker do? I remember, didn't Luffy tell Zoro to save Smoker? Is that what it's about? Huh? Had to throw this in. What is this? For me, it's like Garp and Sengoku fighting in this chapter. An argument between friends. Yeah, I definitely never thought he was actually going to kill him. So, oh, this is funny. I see. A strong sense of collective responsibility between a group is a completely different thing, is saying a different thing to what that person is saying. The actions of an individual, both positive and negative, like what you're saying is a measured like idea of a culture. What he's saying is just bullshit. That's why I asked him to take a step back and rephrase, rethink what is the purpose of the statement? How can I actually say this that it makes sense? What you're saying makes sense. What he's saying is just... And plus, if you're going to say that, a lot of cultures in the world have that concept. I just don't like the way that he phrases, oh, this is what Japanese people think. This is what happens. But then he uses no examples to like, no actual laws. He just says it's a law. He just says this is what they do. And furthermore, what's your point? This is a thing that has happened culturally in various cultures in history. Not so much today. So, for example, if I want to say what you said, you said Japanese culture has a strong sense of collective responsibility. Here's an example of that. I was in Japan and people as old as 60 to 70 years old were working at McDonald's as street traffic officers. Like in my country, people retire at 50 to 60. They do not want to work after that. In Japan, they want to work as long as possible because they feel useful. That's an example. So I can give you something that I think, an example of it, but then I also have to make it make sense for the context of the discussion. Otherwise, you're just talking for the sake of talking. And I don't like that. Because it makes a conversation go like this. And I just kind of want to like try and keep it more like this. So you understand why I was asking him to like give me an example and make it relevant. So I don't know why you're coming to his defense, but I do like that you said what he might be trying to say better. But I still think he needs to take a step away and come back with a reason for why this is even a discussion. Should I claim Diglett? No. So anyway, to bring it back to the actual manga chapter, I don't think there's anything more to say. I think that the worst part, it was all kind of like concluding the fight up until the end, where we have Harold's sacrifice, literally tearing the symbol of his giantness. This is where it ends. I like that someone kind of compared this to Marley, which was also an example of people taking responsibility for people taking responsibility for crimes they didn't commit in a very extreme way. Ohayo. Nihon wa ima あっちです。朝です。Oh, it's morning in Japan. おはよう、おはよう。今、南アフリカは、夜です。So if no one has anything further to add to the actual chapter, rather than just making giant, nonsensical claims about an entire culture, then please, we can end. I'll end the video here. I won't end the stream yet. I want to just chill for 30 minutes. So no final thoughts. I'll give it like 2 minutes. We didn't have any episode this week, which was a little bit sad. Wait, when do they go on a break? January? I think we're good. I think we will still have a couple of chapters before going back to Luffy. But I don't feel this can go on for much longer. Yeah, I really hope we go back to like the present next week. But probably not. Probably not, because we still have this. We have to see the slave he becomes, I guess. I really like the moment he says goodbye to his sons. I want you to work together to support Elbaf after I'm gone. Once the current arc is over, it should be the 1st of January. Oh. I can't wait to see what happens to Harold. Somers said in Elbaf that stupid King Harold ruined everything. Ooh, Harold will definitely redeem himself. Oh, interesting. Maybe that's why he ends up getting killed, right? By his guard, which I don't remember happening. Like, I don't remember that chapter right now. But that would... So probably we're going to have a few more chapters where we get to see that. Ugh. 19 pages is just not enough. I want more. Imagine waiting a whole month for one chapter, but then it's 3 in 1. Like 60 pages or more. Would that be cool? I think that would be so cool. He will get killed for his actions for sure. I don't think he will be Domi reversied. I think he will realize his mistake. His mistake? Hasn't he already realized his mistakes? Or... I do like how... Because a lot of the times we do things and we say things and then we regret it later. And his friend died. Of course he would regret a lot of things. But that doesn't mean he would have necessarily done things any different. Because what did Chebek want him to do? He wanted him to become a pirate, you know? And he was trying to be on the straight and narrow for his own people. So I don't think he betrayed his friend by not becoming a pirate. Like, I don't think that's fair to say. But how could he stand up to the world government, and how could he have saved? It's like, it's such a tough decision. Oh, he will realize his mistake. He is mistaken for wanting to try and join the world government, and he will be punished for, you know. Attack on Titan was doing that, and I dislike it way more than short chapters weekly. Oh. I wouldn't mind it, honestly. It's like watching 2 episodes every second week. So for some seasonals, I do that. Because if I'm going to wait a week, I might as well wait 2 weeks for more. But it doesn't make a big difference for One Piece, but I really want to read. If I read One Piece, I want to read a lot. I don't want to read just so little. It's so little. I want to read more. Audrey says, I enjoyed this flashback, but honestly, it felt like it was dragging on a little too long. I'm ready to get back to the Straw Hats. The thing is, there is so much to tell here. It could have gone on for longer with the amount of story, but these are... I want to know Luffy's story. This is the past. I do want to get back to Luffy too. It's really difficult when you have so much potential. Like, think about the Noland backstory. That was so great, but it was kind of short and sweet. This is obviously bigger, so it's longer. But man, I miss Luffy. I kind of wish we could have like the main story and then spin-off stories going at the same time. But that would be confusing. But still, like imagine if after One Piece finishes, we got another manga with this backstory, And what would be really cool about a story like that is that we know how Chebek is going to end, but then you could delve into his story and it would be a tragic end, but it would be good, and eventually things will work out because of inherited will and whatnot. But imagine finishing One Piece and then getting all these spin-offs to just expand the world and support the main story. Oh, that would be so cool. Okay, but that's dreaming too big. Okay, wait. I think I'm gonna finish up. I wanted to play some games, but it's already midnight. We can call them side piece. Some book series have something like that. It's pretty cool. If you're interested, you can read the spin-off. Not just skip to main part. It kind of reminds me of like Star Wars 4, 5, 6, and then Star Wars 1, 2, 3. It's not the same, but you get the story with this character, and then if you want to know where this character comes from, then you have this, and if you want to know where that character comes from, you have that. Like, imagine if it just kept expanding like that. Like, I would watch a series about Yamato's journey. I would watch a series about Odin's journey. I would watch a series about so many journeys. Hi, Straw Hat Uzumaki. There's so much I want to know. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I tried to read The Hobbit, but that was a little bit difficult. Good night. Me too. I can't wait for the next chapter. Okay, let me finish up. But I'm trying to decide if I finish up the video or finish up the stream. Okay, let me finish up the video and then I can just decide on the stream. So in conclusion, today's chapter, it started with the finding out that Garling was the one who killed Rocks. We saw Shanks being discovered by the Roger crew. We saw a fight between Sengoku and Garp. We saw Garp letting his son go. The first words between them that's kind of crazy. Wow. In 1,000 chapters? Wow. We see Loki telling Rocks, I think you're Nika, the warrior of liberation, or what's it called? The warrior of liberation? The something of liberation? And then we see Rocks talking about becoming the king of the world if he and Harold could team up because of the Galela. But that's my question. I understand that everyone loves Rocks because of this backstory. But he wants to use giants to conquer the world, to conquer people. So how he would just be, what, the next emu? What? Luffy wants to be the king of the pirate king, because it's the freest person in his mind. It's the most free person, not in charge of anyone, just someone who goes on adventures and is strong, and that's his idea of a pirate king. But the king of the world is what he says, and he wants to use giants being controlled by. He wants to be a person who works with a giant, who controls giants, who conquers the world through what? Meetings and card games? He wants to use the giants to, like, what? So, I don't know. I liked him. He was very different from what I imagined. Interesting character, but I can't put him on a pedestal the way that I don't see him as, for me, he's a fan favorite for other fans, but he still wanted to conquer and rule, and to me, I guess that means, that island, the beehive thing, absolute chaos, but he's the king of it. A true pirate, never a savior. Yeah, but I'm not gonna support a true pirate. Pirates are people in real life. Pirates are people who pillage towns and rape women and eat food and smash bottles on people's heads, and, like, that's not Luffy's idea of a pirate. Luffy's idea of a pirate is someone who is free, not bound to any city or person, just you and your crew having adventures. They collect treasures from to hopefully they buy most of what they need. Sure, they're not perfect. Sure, they probably, if you look at the One Piece, the story, they've probably done some things like steal food or whatever, I don't know. But most of the time, they get money from Nami, like a budget to buy things in a town. They're not murderers. They're not pillagers. They're not, like, so I can support them. I can laugh at their antics. I can, cheer for them, because at the end of the day, he makes the world a better place. Not because he rules over people, but just because he helps his friends. Like, that's relatable. He just helps his friends. But the Rocks wanted to conquer the world and be the king of it. And if the world, under his rule, he didn't want to make it a better place. He wanted to make it like that island, right? Which was chaos. No normal person can live in a world like that. So yeah, I don't see him as... Nika frees people. freedom and chaos are not necessarily the same thing, but I guess it depends on what your idea of freedom. You know, you get freedom, because freedom is a word coined by people. So we get to define it. You have the nature, lions eating the deer or the bucks, the hyenas feasting on the carcasses. Like, maybe that's his idea of freedom. Like, no rules, no nothing. But when there's a world where you can kill me just because you're stronger than me, is that freedom? Is that a free world for me? I don't think so. I don't think that's freedom. That's just chaos. That's wildness. I don't know what to call it. But freedom is a word made by people, so we should talk about what it means. And if the what did he say? Nika, the warrior of liberation. To me, that's Luffy. Because liberation means to give everyone freedom and, I don't know. Not just the strong. Yeah. I'm gonna need to use copy and paste for that. Freedom is a hard topic, not for my bad English. Yeah, no, it's a hard topic. Like I said, because it's coined by people, we should talk about it and philosophize about it. And, you know, we're not going to get an answer. There has not been an answer for hundreds of years, but we should always ask the question, what does it mean to be free? We should, you know, strive for the best kind of society where every individual's freedom is guaranteed. I don't know. That's the discussion. I don't understand English, but it seems like One Piece is a bit of a mess. Did you know that about 12 to 15 years ago, there was a One Piece prophecy on social media? By the way, all of those prophecies have come true so far. So what you're saying, wait, no. For me, I wouldn't read that or watch it or whatever because it feels like, you know, Usopp asking Rayleigh, what's the One Piece? Even if it's not the same, but I want to find out for myself. I want to figure it out for myself. I don't want to see an oracle and have it told, even if it, you know, there's still a chance it's not true, but I don't want to watch it and be like, oh, that guy was right. Oh, that guy was right. I want to, like, watch it. I think you're missing the point of the discussion. He was also Whitebeard's captain, so we're not talking about him as a hero. No one's calling him a hero. We're just saying, like, well, I was saying that I don't put him on a pedestal for these reasons. He hates Emu, but he wanted to rule the world too. Maybe 800 years ago, Emu was just some guy who wanted to protect his family and rule the world, be the king of the world, and now he is. But now, after living hundreds and hundreds of years, his humanity has whittled down to nothing. Anyone could turn into Emu. If you start your journey by saying, I want to be the king of the world, I want to rule everyone. How did you feel about the chapter? Oh, I was summarizing the chapter. It was, the ending was the only part that I feel like everything else was just kind of concluding, summarize, like this is where they are now. This is what happened. We did find out, however, Garling was the one who killed Chibik. And then at the end, we see Harold's like inner turmoil. So it's kind of like a difficult chapter because 2 weeks in a row, not last week, but 2 weeks ago plus this week, we had to watch Chibik die, essentially. So it's kind of rough. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to end the video. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you guys for a fun weekend. I can't wait for the next chapter, but I also even more can't wait to see Luffy again. Interesting topics all around, especially the one about freedom. That's definitely something we could talk about for a long time. But I'd rather just kind of, for now, see how... Because the show definitely deals with that topic in its own way. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about, you know, Luffy and him as the warrior of liberation. Ooh, we even had Kuma with his hands of liberation. He was freeing people. He was setting them free. They were slaves, and then they were sent all over to the corners of the world in order to start a new life. You know, those people were going to be killed. So those are the people in One Piece that I want to read more about right now, honestly. Okay. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Booty. Thank you, Modru. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Jordan, for popping in at the end. Falconia. HMO. Olvaha, who went to bed. Strohat Uzumaki. I'll see you guys next Sunday. Thankfully, we have another chapter. I guess to wind down, there's one thing that still bothers me, which is the whole Japanese people believe this. That topic still bothers me. I don't think it's a Japanese people thing. I think it's a history thing. Lots of people in history all over the world were held accountable for crimes they did not commit. It's a big theme in One Piece. It's a big theme in Attack on Titan. I just don't like it being attributed to one group of people. I don't like it, but I don't want to leave that topic in such a negative place. But what can I do? Thanks, Dark Shadow. Yes, Odinoko. We're still going, but we're saying goodbye now. I cannot read, but arigato. Oyasumi. See you guys next time. Wait, I don't want to end my stream with crazy hair. Bye. Have a good new week.